So, a lot happening in the corridors of the court. I was telling you about the case of James GHOne, the fact that prosecution has closed its case, the fact that after closing its case, the court will have to determine whether there is a case for him to answer. Absolutely, by way of determining whether there is a prima facie evidence by way of the witnesses called by the prosecution. The court, presided over by Justice Mary Mami Yenzu, had given the parties time to file their respective written submissions for the court to make a determination of same. But in court this week, in fact, prosecution indeed came and made a request for more time to be able to file their processes. The court indicated that, look, in fact, lawyers of James GHOne, led by Chachi Chikata, the Venerable Chachi Chikata, indicated that they do not object to the request to be given time to be able to file the process. However, they want to raise issues in relation to point of law, and finally, the prosecution fact to be able to put things in proper perspective for the court to understand what exactly, in respect to some of the charges James GHOne is facing. In fact, he's facing 5 counts, including perjury and also forgery of official document and all of that, which he has denied all of them. So the case has now been adjourned to 27th of March for a determination. And 27th of March, Justice Mary Mami Yenzu will make a determination as to whether James GHOne has a case to answer or not. If the court finds that there's a case to answer, he'll have to mount a witness box and also speak. But if the court finds that there's no case for him to answer, then he will be discharged. But so that's one of the things that we're sharing with you this morning. Then Gregory Afoko. On Monday, I spoke to you extensively about Gregory Afoko and the fact that finally, for nearly 10 years, he's been able to satisfy his bail conditions and has been released on bail. For the meantime, he's on bail until final determination of this case, except when he showed the character along the line that the court thinks that no, that's against the bond that he signed. That one, it could be revoked. And for the first time, he made an appearance in court. But of course, prosecution intend to put their house in order by way of calling their next witness and all of that. So the case before Justice Marie Louise Simmons, the one that Afoko and Asabke along the outstanding trial for allegedly murdering or killing or having hands in the death of Adams Mahama, the late NPP Upper East Regional Chairman. That case will come back on April 7. So Afoko came to court for the first time after he was granted bail. But of course, prosecution asked for time to be able to put their house in order. So that case has been adjourned to April 7. And so on Monday, you were sitting with your favorite judges, right? How did it feel? How was it like?
It was a good feeling, you know. You hardly hear judges ever talk. Absolutely. In fact, you don't hear them at all talk outside of the courtroom, you know. So for them to have come out to come speak to us about this, which is the jury reforms in Ghana, it was a nice conversation. I particularly liked, you know, the part where Her Ladyship Justice Ifiasewa Saribochi talked about, responded to the claims of bribery, you know, among judges and even the jury. And, you know, she stated categorically that, yes, I mean, those rumors could be true, but you know who to mess with. You know who to go to offer them anything, and you know who not to even try or dare to, yes, you know, at all. And it was, in all, it was a nice conversation. I enjoyed it.
Absolutely. For those of us who are also watching, we really enjoyed it, because some of the questions that we get asked outside, a lot of them were taken care of during the conversation that you have with the two noble justices here and all of that. But as in relation to the conversation that we have, we'll bring some excerpts of what exactly the conversation has always been. Let's hear from Justice Ifiasewa Saribochi.
I am all for expanding the jury list and introducing other things for law reform. My personal view of law reform should be dealing with technology routinely. For me, I think we should, for instance, deal with electronic evidence routinely, because policing and law enforcement has become technological. So everything should be electronically dealt with and possible. We don't have to ask the Chief Justice for a warrant if a witness lives abroad or is in some other country and wants to testify via video link. I think issues like taking evidence on commission and preservation of evidence should now be such that you record it electronically for the person for it to be played. You know, I think we should introduce more technology. We should also, I think, introduce soft copies of things. We should have voice to text, so that we can have people, you know, so that we can have the trials going faster. Surveys that they do they actually do surveys on people who actually have cases in court? Or they just do surveys which is like a set of facts which may or may not exist? Now, the reason why I'm asking this is, personally, I have, in cases when it was civil cases, for example, done cases where from start to finish, from filing to judgment, it took 4 months. From filing to judgment. Now, these cases that we are talking about, doing cases from day to day, all day, and the fact that we are doing case management such that we will do the cases with a case completion plan and so on, I have been applying it since 2020. So it is not new. Unfortunately, I will not at all deny that there are some people who do not go by the strict practice directions that the Chief Justices gave. Unfortunately, because of some happenstances previously, people can talk about judicial corruption, but then that same happenstance indicated that there were judges who were not corrupt. They indicated it. There were people who were not corrupt. Who gives these judges the money? Where do they do it? I wonder. How do they get the gumption, as my grandmother used to say, to go to a judge and dare to offer them anything? How do they do it? But then when they go, they turn around and I don't know. But personally, I think, yes, our judiciary can be better. We can do things a lot better. But now that we are doing better, I don't expect people to say, oh, it's going to fail. I expect them to give us the benefit of the doubt and observe what we are doing.
That is Justice Efia Sewa Asaribotwe, a justice of the Court of Appeal, on when she appeared here to have a date with you. So Sewa had an engagement with Sewa on that. But she's been talking about two different things in this particular.
Sewa had an engagement with Sewa. Yes.
Or Sewa meets Sewa. So one of the things that she was talking about earlier was technology, how to adopt technology in the judicial system. And sometimes it happens, sometimes the challenges are there. Witnesses are supposed to be taken in camera. Sometimes it does happen. Sometimes too, they face some challenges. Some of the courts are very conducive for some of these things. And like she mentioned, day-to-day hearing, I know a lot of people might have heard this a couple of times in the time past, where specific cases we heard that the court has given an order to deal with the case on day-by-day hearing. James Gyakye Quayson appeared to be one of them. Sometimes in Okuni's case, it also came up and all of that. So she makes the point that technology is one of the things that should be adopted. And I have been in her court a couple of times, and I know that technology was applied. The ambulance case, we had a moment where the matter or hearing have to be televised, even live from the High Court and all of that. So she talked about technology. And of course, the point that you made earlier about bribery allegations and all of that. And she made the point that, you notice that Justice Efia Sewa Asaribotwe was one of the judges that Anas tried some time back when the judicial expose came out, and Anas failed. So when she was here and was talking about that particular point in time, then she knows what he's talking about, because she has been tried before, but Anas and the team could not get her to commit by way of getting her to accept money, where we do know that some judges were implicated, some of them were sacked and all of that. So that's one of the points that she made about the question you asked about the perception about allegation. But she was not the only person on the set here. Justice Lydia Osei-Marfo was also here. Let's hear from what she has to say in relation to that particular subject.
Sometimes, you see, people are vicious.
So in their mind, they think people can do things funny. So they would start throwing their stone where actually there's actually no reason to do that. Sometimes they think it must go their way, and if it doesn't go their way, one thing we have to bear in mind is that whatever happened between the parties, the judge was not there. We only work with the evidence. So if we get the right evidence, exactly so we are going to pronounce. And if you think you want to see a judge, so report yourself that me, myself, I have gone to see Judge A to work in my favor. So don't throw it out there as if one person is the evil. Whoever is going to give the bribe is as guilty as the one whom we claim has collected it. So in my opinion, personally, like my senior said, it is those to whom they look at your face that they can say that to, not to some of us. Because throughout my practice on the bench, if you joke, I'll mention your name in open court. In my lower court days, if you go to see the registrar, that I will go and see the judge in respect of this case for me. As soon as I sit, I'll call that case first, and I tell you the parties who are going behind me to seeing these people. So nobody messes up with me. I'll just blow the cover on you. And if you do that, you are at peace. Nobody can try you. And I'll tell you, in this case, please, I am not able to tell my sister to go this way or that way because I'm not in the known of the evidence that has been produced there. So if we all play our roles very well, this perception would go. But I just want to say, generally, a good number of the perception people carry out there are wrong. It is because they would want to come out to say that we think the judge is biased because he has taken bribe to make them look good. Their cases are often bad. Otherwise, why would they want to go and see somebody to help them? So generally, it's not everybody that is corrupt. It's not everybody. And unfortunately for us, we are not able to answer for ourselves. They throw it out there so painfully, and then we can only listen and then do. But one thing is that if we bastardize the court often in the media, and people lose confidence in the media, that is the only platform that you go neutrally to vent your problems. So if we are saying that, oh, they are all corrupt, then, you know, as soon as there is something, people want to take the law into their own hands and do the wrong thing. It's not like that.
Yes, so that's a Justice Lydia Osema, for also a Justice of the Court of Appeal, when she sat with Sewami here on jury reforms. And she is making a point about those perceptions about judges taking bribe in cases that they handle. She makes the point that, look, if you try with her, she'll blow your cover. And so I have been to Justice Lydia Osemafo's court so many times, covered a lot of cases in her court and all of that. And one of the things that I know I can testify about her is the effect that she's very astute and very clear in the cases that she does. And so when you appear before her, you have to appear and appear well. And like she mentioned, she's not one of the judges that you can go and then have your way with her by way of trying to say that you want to bribe her and all of that. And she's making the point. As for the judges, they do not have a voice. So whatever is thrown at them, you only just have to sit down and listen. So it was very nice that you had that engagement with them and all of that in relation to what happened at the court and what happened in relation to the Leading Justice Initiative, which is one of the issues that this jury reform has always come under in all of that. But, so I'm going to show a video, and I'll ask your thought about that. It's about Nana Agrada and then Prophet Pierre. Let's watch this video.
Wow. Hallelujah.
Glorify the name of God. Thank you, Jesus. Like I said, appeared the Mama Bako since 2021.
Yes.
Issues. And then I court another judgment. Court the issue of just appeared in as we be entered so the Mama Bako. If you are bought assembling in a and was about appear 15,000.
15,000. God bless you.
God bless everybody for your prayers and your support.
Evangelist Doctor. Evangelist Doctor Dr. Mama Pat.
Yes. Yes.
Come
that's
on.
Mama Pat for you.
I'm such
it's
a
the
fan,
powder
you know.
for me.
Please, no Mama Pat slander will be tolerated. You know, I'm her fan, right?
I know you're a fan. And
yeah,
you know the white, white symbolizes
victory. What was the case about?
So this is a case that was initiated by Prophet Apia, one of the junior prophet of Prophet Kobe. And this has to do with an allegation that he made that evangelist Mama Pat exposed some pictures of him in an inappropriate manner, and so
like naked pictures,
absolutely, and that was shown on her TV, Tender TV, and all of that. So it became an issue. She was picked up, and this matter has traveled to the High Court. And finally, the High Court in the course of the week came out with a judgment. The judgment was to the effect that the plaintiff in the matter, Prophet Apia, has no case against evangelist Mama Pat. So a cost of 15,000 Ghana cedis was awarded against him in favor of Prophet Mama Pat, and that was the reaction.
She's not prophet, she's evangelist Dr. Mama Pat.
Is the doctor also Pat?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Doctor.
You don't know?
No.
Oh, okay. She's evangelist Dr.
You know,
she's a very lovely woman.
Oh, she does. As for Nana Agrada and how
Please don't call her Agrada.
It is the name that my viewers can
She's
relate.
no more of the world. Just call her Mama Pat. Can't you see? She knelt down, yes, praised the Lord. Have you been to her church before?
No.
I will go to her church.
Okay.
Certainly this year, before the year ends.
So the reason I asked you, I'm to ask you about the fact that you see how the mood and then her body language and all of that. So it tells you that when you have a court case and finally you are left off the hook, that is the relief
you get.
Right. And that is what some of the things that he makes. She came to court with powder. I don't know how she got to know that I was going to.
Oh, you have to be prepared for every situation, you know. But this is not the real victory. The real victory will be
at a church,
not even on social media, on TikTok Live. You watch out for the proper celebration. This one is she's being modest because she's in court, you know. So there's not so much she can do. But on TikTok, it will happen
like so. From where you saw the powder was even from the corridors, not even outside.
Yeah,
immediately
I see.
After the court room.
Yes.
And then walking out of the courtroom is where you see all these actions.
How many cases does Mama Pat have in court now?
For now, I think some of them were dropped along the line. So I could think about 2 for now. Okay. And this one is out of the way. There's one at the circuit. In fact, 3. There's one at the circuit court and one pending at criminal court 3 before Justice Mary Mami Ikwe-Yenzu. And this one has gotten out of the way. So that one is also pending. We'll see the outcome of that particular one, whether we'll see a repeat of a celebration like this, or that one will be different. Or more probably a pro-max of what we have just witnessed. So that's one of the cases that also took place. Evangelist Dr. Mama Pat also won that particular case. And for her, the cost awarded against Prophet Apia is a big deal, because next time, before you initiate any action against her, you have to think about it twice before you go to court and all of that. So that's one of the things that also came up in the course of the week that we want to be sharing with you. But today, what is coming out today is that we're telling you a story about a young man who, for nothing, has spent 19 years in lawful custody. When you say for nothing, what do you mean? He committed the offense that he was alleged to have committed, which landed him in incarceration, custody, in prison. Tapia has finally now been cleared that he didn't do it. It wasn't part
what offense
of the
was
robbery. There was a robbery incident that took place In 2016, he was arrested, detained, and
in
remanded.
2016?
2006.
Ah, okay.
Sorry, 2006. He was arrested, remanded. The trial went on when he had denied the whole offense. And then in 2011, he was sentenced to 45 years in prison. And then in 2025, the Court of Appeal says that no, the High Court was wrong to have convicted and sentenced him because in all intents and purposes, the judge was wrong. And unfortunately, he had to spend 19 years. So from 2006 when he was arrested till 2011 when he was convicted, he was on remand. Then from 2011 to 2025, before the Court of Appeal will find his innocence, all put together, he's spent 19 years. I've been speaking with him in a newsroom. We'll give you a feel of what exactly her troubles are and what she has been saying.
Oh,
what the whole
woman.
Story. It's a male.
Male, okay.
Yeah, it's a male.
Wow.
So that is so interesting too. So on newsroom, we'll bring you excerpts of that, and on Monday we'll give you the full gist of the conversation that we have with the convict who has now been set free by a 3-member panel of the Court of Appeal, and what probably could happen in the next coming days and all of that. So that's what we should expect. And you know the issue between Spiky and CAF, that case is not dead yet. The High Court awarded the cost against, in fact, damages against CAF, Confederation of African Football, for using Spiky's intellectual property without giving him anything or without any permission from him. And so the court awarded him damages which CAF was supposed to pay over $200,000, which CAF was expected to pay. The Federation disagreed with that. They filed a notice to appeal at the Court of Appeal. And on top of that, they went to the High Court for a stay of execution pending appeal. We'll bring you details of what has happened in relation to the stay of execution pending the appeal and all of that. So that's one of the things that you should also stay tuned for on Newsroom. So this is what we have for you by way of court today, this morning.
Right, Mutala, thank you so much. I don't want you to go. I want to do Inside Out with you.
Oh, wow. Friday special.
Friday special, yes. I want to do Inside Out with you. And a special good morning to Lantam Papanko. I really miss him, you know.
Wherever you are, Manchester United. Yesterday
I really miss Lantam. Lantam, I'm not happy with him, but yes, that's a story for another day. But Lantam, how are you doing? And so that's it for court today. I am actually saddened by one of your stories, which is the incarceration of the guy for 19 years. I mean, we cannot continue to do this. You see, I have a big problem, even with how we just remand people. The first time I went to the Nsawam prisons, the female side, I spoke and saw women who had been on remand 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you know, and it's so heartbreaking. We can't continue to do this. And these are the reforms that we need, you know. So when the judges are done, or the Chief Justice is done with the jury reforms, we need to take a good look at, you know, some of these things. Because how do you keep someone in prison for 19 years only to find out that the person never actually committed the crime? And we don't have the laws. It makes no sense.
There should be a system where when persons of this nature, issues of this nature come out, the system already have a way to address or to compensate you.
But you see, that compensation, elsewhere in other jurisdictions, in more advanced countries, you'd expect to get like a really good compensation, you know, even though it does not make up for the losses that you have to go through. But in Ghana, I don't know how much money these people will be willing to spare, and it certainly will never be enough for 19 good, even years. 1 year
so he
of your life.
He told me he was 29 when he was arrested. So that is nearly 40. It's more than 40.
Yeah, 20.
Yeah,
wait,
so 30 plus, let's say 20. So that's 50 years.
Oh, 30. You said he was what?
29.
29.
Yes.
And he's been inside for 19.
That is
49. He's 48.
Yes, 48 years.
He's so 48 now.
50 years. And he has now have to find a way to fight the system over and over and over. That is if he decides to even move on. And he is a drinking sport operator. Can you imagine?
Anyway, that's it for courts today.